back to the channel everyone. This is Vikram and time is 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm not actually an early morning person, but the reason why I got up this early is I can shoot peacefully. That is because I got a special car with me today. It is this one, the Cross Polo. Actually, I have driven almost every variant of Polo: diesel, manual, automatic, petrol, everything. But this is something different, and I haven't driven this one. So let's go experience this as well. So I actually thought this was a Cross Polo by looking at it from the outside, but this is a regular Polo, a diesel one. So that is exciting as well. Let's go. Welcome back to the channel everyone. This is Vikram and that is the Polo TDI, regular Polo TDI, non-GT version, and this is its key, as you can see, just like any other VW car. And coming to the front aspect of the car, we have some chrome finishing here and there. You know, third strip on the grille is finished in chrome, and we have another chrome line running all over. And coming to the headlamps, we have all halogen headlamps, and indicators as well are halogens, and fog lamp which is placed over here is a halogen. This is the towing hook of the car, and we have a big VW logo over here which looks very nice. And we have piano black finishing inside the VW logo. And coming to the side aspect of the car, you know, yesterday by looking at from the side I thought this was a Cross Polo, but you know, morning after realizing that there were no body claddings, I got to know that this is not a Cross Polo, this is a regular Polo. Usually Cross Polo have black color body cladding running all over the car, all around the car. That brings us to the tires. We have 185/60R 15-inch wheels, both at the front and in the rear as well. But we only have discs in the front. In the rear it's a drum. That is the same case with almost every variant of Polo. That brings us to the rear aspect of the car, where we have TDI badging over here. Usually the GT version have GT TDI written over here. And we have Polo badging over here, and in order to open the boot, this is what we have to do, which is very cool. And we have some first aid kit from VW. Everything else is pretty much basic and normal. These are the parking sensors of the car, and this is an aftermarket reverse parking camera, because back in 2014 Polo didn't have a reverse parking camera and touchscreen infotainment system. And we have a spoiler which is very subtle, and that's a shark fin antenna finished in a different color again, just like the roof rails. As you can see, door pockets are very small. We just can't fit in any bottle. These are just to fit some papers and files as such. Seats are very comfortable. Headroom, knee room, under thigh support as well is not at all an issue for someone of my height. I am not going to sit in that, because this car is not about rear seat and comfort or anything of that sort. It's all about driving. Of course, this is not a GT version, but let's see how it drives. By the way, front door pockets can fit in a 1-liter bottle, which is quite evident over here. And these are the power window controls. This button is to lock and unlock the car, and we have controls for the ORVMs. And this is for the headlights, wipers and indicators on the left side. Typical German style, or rather non-Indian style. And interior is pretty much similar to any Polo. This is an aftermarket infotainment system. As I said, back in 2014-15 till 16, I guess, Polo didn't have a touchscreen infotainment system. And this is the climate control air conditioner of the car. Let me slot the key inside so that we can have a look at the MID. So on the left side we have a tachometer, and on the right side we have speedometer. Cluster is pretty much basic and cool. AC is actually making a lot of noise. I'll turn it off. So in the middle we have an MID which shows a lot of information. And this car has one more cool thing I have to mention over here. This is a diesel car, so in terms of fuel economy, it is great. It returns somewhere around 19.3 actually, which is again a very nice thing. So that is pretty much about the interior and exterior of the Polo, because there's nothing much to talk about. It's all about driving. So let's get driving. And one more thing, steering can be adjusted in both ways. It can be adjusted telescopically and for tilt as well, which is again a very nice thing. So guys, this is the Polo TDI, not the GT version, and initial impressions, it sounds like a tractor. This is a diesel car. In fact, previous generation VW diesel cars used to sound like tractors. I don't know about the present generation ones because I haven't driven the Virtus or Slavia so far. Petrol cars are definitely smooth, but the fun you can have on diesel cars, you just can't have that on any petrol car whatsoever. Of course, turbo petrol is a different league altogether, but let's not talk about that today. It's all about this car. This is a Polo. It's got a 1.5 liter inline 4 in SOHC layout. That is why it's got phenomenal low end grunt, and it produces 230 Newton meters of torque. All that torque comes down at a very low 1500 RPM. So turbo lag, what is it, man? Every movement in any gear, whenever you floor the throttle, it just lunges ahead. That is the amount of grunt it has in the lower end. Mid-range is definitely phenomenal. It's a diesel car, so all that full potential comes down in the mid-range. This car basically produces somewhere close to 90 bhp, 89 to be precise, and 230 Newton meters, as I said earlier, at 1500 RPM. And that brings us to the suspension of the car. This, compared to the GT versions, is slightly softer. GT Polos are on the firmer side, but this is not as firm as the Polo GT TDI. And in spite of soft suspension, it handles in a great way. It is very sharp, and steering has a lot of feel and feedback. No slack in the center position whatsoever, and it's an absolute pleasure driving this car. One more thing, Polo is one of my all-time favorite cars, and it will remain a favorite. I actually have a big list of favorite cars, in that Polo is definitely one among them. Fortunately, they discontinued it in India, and globally we have the next generation of the Polo. Air noise could be heard into the cabin, and definitely the road noise as well. But all that aside, every single movement, whatever gear you're in, just floor the throttle and it rewards you. Let me take a U-turn so that you guys will get an idea of how this car behaves while turning. As you can see, it is sharp. No body roll whatsoever. This is not a car in which I need to talk about body roll, because it's a very sharp handling car and it is capable of tuning. It can take up to stage 3, I guess. I just don't know. People might have tuned it beyond that as well, but I have no idea on that. Putting that aside, stock car itself, not even the GT version, producing somewhere around 90 bhp, similar to what a Swift produces. This car is something else. It's got a different character altogether. The way it responds to throttle inputs, and the way it handles, and the way the steering feels, everything is brilliant. This is a perfectly engineered car. In terms of driving, no flaw whatsoever. I just can't nitpick this car in any way whatsoever. The hard fact is that during the initial half of its journey in India, Polo didn't sell in good numbers. For obvious reasons, maintenance cost was high and parts were expensive. Parts are definitely expensive compared to Indian cars and Korean cars as well. That is why people didn't buy Polo. But during the later half of its journey, VW gave it some updates, small bells and whistles here and there, but not any significant facelift as such. But sales have gone up to some extent during the later half of its journey. Finally, they discontinued the Polo, so if you want to own one, there's no option. We have to search for it in second-hand market. And we just don't know how second-hand cars are in India. If you have a trusted dealer or a trusted seller, that's totally fine. But we just can't have that confidence when we get a used car. So guys, this is my review of one of my all-time favorite cars. Not for its comfort, not for its looks, but just for the driving pleasure. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video real soon. Until then, this is Vikram signing off.